And when you look at West Ham and you look at Forest, there is some momentum there. There is some cohesion there. We have none of that.
Spurs fans do not deserve any of this.
But it felt like for the first time, I would say the majority of people now feel it is probable that we are going down.
Welcome to another episode of the Crowing Cockerel Podcast. I'm Graham. I'm here with Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Hi, Tom.
What? What do you want? Why am I here? Why are we doing this? This is mean. This is mean making me do this.
We're here again to pick out all the positives around Tottenham Hotspur that have happened over the last, 10 weeks of our life. Let's be honest. And we'll talk about the game, Crystal Palace game. Mark, you obviously were there. You had the seat this week.
I was, yeah. I made a late decision. I made a last-minute decision. I knew you weren't there and thought, well, better go and fill the seat. And it was bad. Oh, my goodness. It was really, really bad. But in a way, I'm still kind of glad that I got to go. It's a bit like, the only way I can describe it is like when your pet has been diagnosed with an illness and you just get to see them that one last time before they get put down.
Oh my goodness.
And it's not a nice thing to do, but you still feel better inside yourself for having done it.
We spoke last week about how it's a bit of a taboo, isn't it? You're not allowed to feel down about your football team. And it is a bit like a pet being ill, isn't it? It's just, it's on your carpet. It scratches your wallpaper. It wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning, but you still don't want it to be poorly like this, do you? I mean, it's getting to the point now.
It reminds me of a nature documentary. If you imagine Attenborough and you've got some like poor little wounded wildebeest and a pack of lions all just playing around, and you've got this poor little defenseless creature in the middle, and that is us, and just waiting for its impending doom. That's how it feels right now.
And even worse, because that metaphor goes even further, Mark, because no one wants to help us. Everybody's piling in. So the cameraman in that documentary, who could help? He could help. He could say something, but no, he just watches the wildebeest get torn to shreds.
Yeah.
And also that pet metaphor, I do like that, because some pets have to be taken away to be destroyed because they're barking and snarling at the neighbours. We're not doing that. That's not what's happening with the chihuahua that is Tottenham Hotspur at the minute. It's limping along,
cowering and whimpering.
Exactly, shivering in the corner.
Yeah.
To take that metaphor even further,
go on, because we haven't wrung this out yet.
So Palace scored a goal, which was a nose offside.
A nose offside.
I will say now, VAR has ruined football. I hate it. But within 90 seconds, we'd gone 1-0 up, and Archie Gray had done Archie Gray things, set up Thom and the world was good, and we were doing okay,
and the atmosphere was great.
Yeah. And then the Chihuahua puppy's mother, Van der Ven, just went, no, I'm going to throw you to the wolves so I can get out of here. And he just switched off, didn't he? He just switched off. He went, he went too aggressive, then got caught. The line was all over the place. He just reacted, pulled. You can't argue with the fact it was a sending off. It was
a penalty and red card all day long.
Yeah.
For me, there's two things. So I thought Danso had by far and away his worst game in a Spurs shirt. We've said before, I'm a big fan of Danso. I think when he comes in, he's somebody that you can really rely on, and he's somebody that was kind of symbolic of a bit of an increase in our squad depth compared to last season. I thought he had a shocker on Thursday, and that first goal, he just got completely muscled out of it, and he was muscled out. He didn't win a single duel all night that I saw. He was really disappointing, and just got muscled straight out of it for that first goal. And then Van der Ven, again, I do wonder about Van der Ven at the moment in terms of his mentality. If he was properly focused and switched on, I think he reacts a lot quicker, and he's not in that really poor position. And then equally, it's just a lazy grab, isn't it? It's like, oh, he's done me. I'm just going to grab him. It's just poor.
Especially for Van de Ven, who is the player, I think, best in the Premier League at recovery.
Yes, he is,
If he's
but
in a
he's
poor
not.
position.
I'm seeing it time and time again, and there's no point piling on other players because at the moment they're just all over the place. But he looked like a Rolls Royce, because if he's got a 60-yard chase, he'll catch up with you.
Mm,
Over a 10-yard sprint, he doesn't seem to have a particularly fast starting speed, so he seems to be getting got quite often on the turn. Because he's a centre back. He's not like Kyle Walker, where positionally he was poor, but it's okay because you've got two centre backs covering. He's the two centre backs.
yeah.
To be honest, a lot of the games he is the two centre backs. So again, I don't think the team is set up to play to his strengths. Anyway, I said last week that he was brought in to play a high line, to cover a high line, because he's very, very fast. I don't think he's good in the air. I don't think he's particularly good positionally. I'm not buying into this thing that he thinks he's better than he is. I just think that is a pile-on, to satisfy anger, and
Mm,
I think he's made mistakes. He's reacted maybe in the wrong way, but I don't believe that any of these players are not bothered by the fact that they are in a team at the moment that just cannot win a game ever. I mean, just professional pride,
yeah.
and it is worrying, isn't it? Because Crystal Palace weren't in good form. They've sold their best players.
Let's be very clear. Crystal Palace didn't get out of second gear in that game. Crystal Palace did not play well. They didn't have to do anything special to beat us, and they steamrolled us. But they didn't do anything special. They played, like I say, just nice, simple football. And the second that they put it into third gear, they tore right through us and scored 3 goals. Could have had another 3, really. It was so easy for them. I would be surprised if they even bothered having a shower at the end of the game. They didn't have to put any effort in at all in winning that game. And that's what's so scary.
And is anybody seeing a shape yet? And I know it's been 3 games. I know we've still had injuries. There's been suspensions.
Well, I've seen 3 shapes in 3 games. That's part of the
Right.
issue, isn't it? It's 3 completely different. And this is the trouble, isn't it? Is that there's so few games. Unless you hit on something straight away, it almost feels like he's just kind of rolling the dice and going, right, we'll try that. Because again, I mean, we said it last week. There was some interesting decisions made. For me, I mean, Porro as a centre back and having Archie Gray as the right wing back is crazy. I mean, the one thing that Porro gives you is the ability to cross the ball. You stick him as centre back and you're just wasting him. It was like playing with 10 men. Well, we did play with 10 men, like playing with 9 men. It's like, because Archie Gray was the best player on the pitch. Well, in a Spurs shirt anyway. But Porro's crossing, that is the biggest thing that he gives us. He has to play on the right if he plays. I just thought that was a really strange decision.
And I know Slanky scored, but it looked to me like he was still playing like the deeper of the 3. He wasn't the focal point of the 3.
Yeah,
Would
I
that
mean,
be fair?
we never got out to be able to really see where he was meant to be. I mean, he hardly touched the ball, Solanke. Yeah, he had a very quiet game.
But we're not
yeah,
using him as a focal point, are we? We didn't.
No,
He wants to use Kado Moani as the focal point. I understand that they've probably got a relationship that goes back a bit further. I mean, I can't believe he hasn't seen after, the first 2 games that Kado Moani is not in any way capable of dominating a Premier League defence.
My hope when Tudor came in was this was going to be pragmatic. I had a little harumph in a previous episode about sort of managers being wedded to a particular style and not just understanding the tools at your disposal. In those moments where, we've got bare bones and suspensions, injuries, low confidence, what you do is you choose the players who are best suited in those positions. You don't try things, you don't mix things up. This is the absolute time for sort of making practical decisions. And my hope was, looking at sort of Tudor's record of coming in short notice in clubs and turning them around, was that was his approach. It doesn't seem to be his way. And
Although to be
now,
fair, like the actual team he picked, like last week we said, play Sousa at left back. He's left-footed. Play Tell.
yes,
Play Sarr, and
yes,
all
and he
those 3
did.
came in. So when I saw
He
the
did.
lineup, apart from, the only change I would have made to that starting 11 would have been to stick Richie in instead of Colomwani. But I was actually quite happy with the players that he picked. It was just the way they were set out. It was just bizarre. And again, the trouble is that the red card happens, and then that's it, isn't it? Game over for us. We just implode, and by half time the game's gone.
It's almost a triple penalty, isn't it? Because
No, but it's
it's a
worse
red
than
card, it's goal.
that. You're right, the game is gone, but it's where there was this hope.
Mm.
I know that some people didn't have hope in Tudor. Maybe mine was misguided, but there is this hope that, this was an experienced manager at a high level who's come in and done this stuff at other clubs. The red card happens, and you think at that point, well, the game's probably gone now. But he makes changes, and we concede 2 more goals. That, for me, is absolute alarm bells. Why are we in a situation where we could be in a position to get back into the game, and then he's put us in a position, because you can't maybe blame Tudor that those changes didn't give him the instant reaction. But I don't know anybody, and they were saying it on the radio commentary, I don't know anybody who would make those changes at that point in the game when you're so close to half time, where you end up sort of changing things so much that you end up putting yourself under more pressure, conceding. And at that point, when the halftime whistle goes, the game is gone. We ain't getting back into it at that point.
And the worst thing is, the second goal is Tell, who we've sort of not lauded, but we've suggested that actually when he's been on the pitch, he's at least trying something. But then he tries a crossfield ball when we're under pressure, and it's like gets cut out. But then Basuma, who's not a fullback, is way out of position, and it's an easy through ball, isn't it? And it's a finish, and it's everything. Every mistake is punished, and every decision seems that is going against us. But it's because it's so easy to get at. And
But they were
you
strange
do to an
substitutions,
extent.
though, weren't they? Again, they were.
Well, Sousa had been booked really early, hadn't he? And I
he
think
had.
he panicked because I thought, oh my God, if he does another tackle, we're going to be down to 9 men.
Yeah,
And he's a young player, first Premier League start. Maybe he was thinking just going to protect him.
yeah, maybe.
Because if he gets sent off, we haven't got our left centre back, we haven't got our left full back in them. Maybe he's thinking, right, we are stuffed. We're just going
to. And for future games as well, obviously. That's the trouble.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
It's the suspensions as well. Yeah.
He needs to almost somehow keep him available until Udogie gets back. Because if he ever gets back. Because, I mean, I don't think I'm the only one that's probably looking at the Liverpool game and thinking, just don't get an injury, don't get anybody sent off. That's all I care about because it's Forest at home. But realistically, we're going to run out of games as much as everybody else is. You can't turn up to Anfield just going, right, this is a write-off. It's okay because we'll get a result. We got no back. We have to try and get a point somewhere.
Yeah, you do. I mean, this is it. Like every single point is precious. And the fact is that Liverpool have been wildly inconsistent. It's very hard to make any sort of case. And this is the thing. I mean, coming away from the stadium on Thursday, it felt like a really significant moment, almost in the club history. But it felt like for the first time, I would say the majority of people now feel it is probable that we are going down. Because you look at that game and you just think, well, that was the game where the recovery had to start. And it just went with such a whimper. For me personally, and I've tried to be positive this season throughout everything, I cannot make any sort of coherent argument to say that we're going to stay up anymore. I just can't see it happening.
Mark, earlier on this season, and I'm going to applaud you here because I think you were the first person in all the sort of online content and commentary and the matches and things that I've seen this season. You were the first one that I heard say we are sleepwalking towards relegation. Now, I felt that way over the last few weeks. Of course, I think we will have to have that fear. It's not a fear for me anymore. It's an absolute reality. And it didn't hit at the Palace game. It hit the night before, where West Ham and Forest got results that nobody saw coming, brought everybody all that much closer together. And I just thought, this is it. We're not the team in form. We're not the team that's most settled. We're not the team that isn't suffering with a load of injuries. We're not the team that hasn't got a manager that doesn't have Premier League experience. There is nothing in our favour right now. And when you look at West Ham and you look at Forest, there is some momentum there. There is some cohesion there. We have none of that.
Well, you've only got to listen to their crowds. I mean, I watched the Forest game, and I obviously saw like bits and pieces of the West Ham game. And even then, I watched a bit of Wolves as well during the week. Their crowds are up. Like it's unbelievable, the atmosphere that they've got at their grounds, the sense of positivity and excitement and togetherness that all of those clubs and all of those fans have. It's just in direct contrast to what we've got. It's exactly as you say, Tom. Like, even when you look at things like that, there is nothing. Like there is it would be. I think it's going to take a miracle for us to stay up, because the change that needs to happen would be unbelievable. I can't see us winning another game.
Yeah, not the way out. The one thing, and I will be the other side of the coin a little bit here, is that sport changes very, very quickly. That is the one hope, isn't it? It's not like normal walks of life. You could be absolutely terrible for 20 weeks on the trot. I mean, you look at Wolves, for example.
Yeah.
You look at Wolves, and they possibly left it too late. But suddenly, they've sort of either got to the point where they've gone, well, we're gone anyway, and that
just relax. And
psychological lift has meant what we're going to do is we're going to try and give our fans a result. So big derby against Aston Villa, they get a result, and the crowd love it because at least they've had a decent day out. And then all of a sudden, that comes after, the Arsenal thing where they get they're not the joke anymore because they've come back from 2-0 down against Arsenal, and it's not even about playing well. It's not even about being dominant. We just need somehow to pick up a result. I think with you, Tom, what you said about the games the night before, when I was watching the West Ham Fulham game, and it was the way that West Ham scored their goal, I just thought, oh God. Because West Ham didn't create that goal. Leno just basically gave it to some of them.
Passed it to him, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, has that happened at all this season for us? We haven't had a penalty. And I know that we don't get in opposition boxes, but we haven't had a single penalty this season. I'm not saying we deserve it. I'm not saying we're playing well enough. But when you see teams around you winning games because of that type of goal, you suddenly think, oh my God, we really, really need a result from somewhere. Just a absolute random result.
We have not had any luck this season, and I know that sounds bitter, and I'm moaning and grabbing at straws, and that it's the sign of a weak and feeble mind. You're absolutely right. I am weak. I am feeble. I'm trying to find something to justify this situation that we're in.
It was Graham's point last week, wasn't it? You have to make your luck. You have to be you at least have to be in the positions. You can't have a penalty when you're never in the penalty box. It's so that's the trouble. And I think the other interesting thing is that you talk about momentum and stuff like that, and that was the big killer, wasn't it? Thursday, we took the lead. The stadium was up. The fans were up for the first time. I think it's the first time we've actually taken the lead all year. And obviously we score the goal, and the ground and the fans were all up and enthusiastic. And you think, right, come on, here we go. Let's push on. We've got something. And then 2 minutes later, red card penalty, 1-1, and straight away, within 2 minutes, it's flat again. And then obviously the next 2 goals before half time. And it is just that way. Again, we said it last week. It just needs something, just some sort of trigger to create a little bit of optimism, because the fans, you can just sense it. Like they're just waiting for anything that happens, and we will be right there with them. But there is just nothing going on right now.
But it doesn't help when your most experienced, best central defenders are playing tag team on the red cards. I mean, this isn't WWF. Just stop making stupid mistakes. There is nothing going our way. And Mark, you're right. Momentum is absolutely key. But where's it coming from? Because your momentum can come from a really, really good rear guard display. Well, we haven't got a back line to do that. Or it can come from an empowering midfield performance. I don't know about you guys. There's been nothing in our midfield this season that has filled me with any sort of
We don't
confidence.
have powerful
Exactly.
midfielders, do we?
What about maybe sort of a creative spark? Well, sorry, Xavi, but it's been a bit of a shocker. And then up front, well, we never get it up front, so we can't tell how good our strikers are. Let alone the fact that Dom's been injured most of the season anyway. So,
But even within
where
a
does it
match,
come
you can have
from?
it. Yeah, like even within a match, it could be a crunching tackle or just seeing the team going on an aggressive press, but there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no press. We're so slow in any sort of press that they just get passed around. There is nothing in any sort of angle that you look at it. Just whether you look at it in a sort of a detailed perspective on the match or just as a season as a whole, you look for any glimmer of light, and there's nothing there. I mean, it's just
Mark,
horrible right now.
Mark, you can probably speak on this because you were at the game. One thing they said on the radio commentary was that previously in the season there was anger, there was boos. It felt like in the stadium they said that actually it wasn't that, and actually perhaps this is worse. It was just sort of resignation, acceptance.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It really felt like a tipping point had been reached with the majority of fans, where they're seeing this happen, and it is exactly that. It's resignation to say, yeah, we're going down. Like this is now probable, rather than we've talked about it for weeks, like being there's lots of things need to happen. We only need to get 3 wins and all this, but we're not getting 3 wins. Where are we getting 3 wins from?
Right. I'm going to try and bring us back from the brink of disaster. Okay.
Please do.
Because we do have 9 games left. Okay. Which is quite a chunk of a season. And you say you don't know where the next win's coming from, and that's a perfectly reasonable statement. But we've still got 2 months of the season left as well. And as you say, we have got periods on the training ground, so we haven't got a game this weekend. We then go into the Champions League games that we'll obviously talk about, and we have Forest at home. Now, I think we've said that the last few games have been the biggest games in our history, really bigger than the Europa League final, because ultimately that just got us in the Champions League. That's great for the club, and it won us a trophy, but it's not didn't save us, obviously, from oblivion like we thought it would. so but if Forest go above us because they beat us, or we lose to Liverpool, they're already above us, and then they get a bigger gap, then crikey, this is a problem, because we haven't got 9 games left, we've got 7 games left, and we're still not seeing any sort of improvement. But at the end of the day, there is still some hope to cling to. There is still something to say it's possible for us to win a game. And it is possible that we could beat Forest at home. And if we beat Forest at home, then obviously we've got a 3-point advantage on Forest that weekend. And that is the sort of way we've got to think about it. We've got to make sure that we are always, staying as near or above them as possible. And that's the other thing that I think is being forgotten. West Ham, Forest, then Spurs. We are not the West Ham. We are not still having to do better over the last 9 games of the season than the other 2 clubs. So it's still in our hands. It can still be turned around. I think we're going to be in the relegation zone after the Liverpool game, I'll be honest. And I think that is going to feel very, very strange. But I do think there is still enough time in the season for us to get out of that and chase the other teams down. And I think the Forest game is going to be absolutely pivotal. I do not buy into the "we deserve this," because I just
Even though the club shop is selling a Nike t-shirt with Spursy on it.
Yeah, but right. So thank you, Tom, because you've given me a chance to explain myself. So we are not the CEO of the club. We're not the marketing director of the club. The club is the fans. It's been around since 1882. It's grown up and it's stayed in North London. It hasn't moved from Woolwich or anything like that. It is the community base of the fans, wherever they may be. They do not deserve this. So we deserve the relegation is an absolute no-no. Some people in the club, owners of the club, would benefit from a shock of reality, and and I wouldn't have any sympathy for them if they lost a load of money. But if anybody thinks that relegation is going to mean that all of a sudden we have this reset, absolutely not. That is not how things will work. If we get relegated, that will have the biggest impact on the fans. Yeah, and there is absolutely no guarantee that that turns around and we go back up and it's one season out of the Premier League. Spurs fans do not deserve any of this. That is absolutely not on my agenda at all.
And especially with the sort of the animosity that's out there right now. If Spurs fans don't feel like there is a suitable enough change, I mean, the exodus from the Palace game, at half time, it was all over social media. It was embarrassing. And I'm not saying the people that left should be embarrassed. That's not what I mean. I mean, it shone a light on how poor things are for us as a club and as a fan base.
Yeah, it's not good. So obviously we've got the Champions League coming up, and I guess there's two questions, because first of all, do you think there's been any sort of conversations going around between Igor Tudor and the ownership in terms of what is the priority of those games? Because obviously last year there was the priority put on the Europa League and we went and won it, and we were in a position where we could just abandon the Premier League because we were never going down. Now it's obviously the opposite is happening, but it's almost like a glamour tie against Atletico Madrid in this stage of the Champions League. Are the owners really going to allow Spurs to just essentially sack it off and play the kids in a Champions League tie like that? And I guess the other question is, from a fan's perspective, should they? Is that going to be acceptable?
Oddly, I think the thing you're suggesting, I think, is absolutely happening. I think the board that we have right now, I think they would be getting involved and be in Tudor's ear. And I would think they would be saying that we should be trying to put in good performances and to try and progress. But they might be telling Tudor to do that. But there's a common sense answer here. The club needs to prioritise the Premier League. Let's face it, that's why they brought Tudor in, right? Because he's the firefighting manager. So the scenario here is save us from relegation. So there has to be a pragmatic approach here to bin off the Champions League. And from the fans' point of view, absolutely, 100%, I would accept as a fan, if he puts the kids out, not a problem.
I mean, yeah, I would definitely pay Kinski in goal just to see how that works. Because I'm surprised, there was a bit of talk, wasn't there, before the Palace game about Vicario not playing. And whatever anybody thinks of Vicario, his confidence is shot to pieces. Now, I'm assuming that they've looked at it and they still think Vicario is more competent at the moment and is going to be better ultimately than putting Kinski in.
Which is a concern in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
which is a massive concern. But also take Vicario out of the firing line, give him a bit of headspace, and give Kinski a go. Because until you put him in a game, you're not gonna really know what he's about.
I mean, this feels like the perfect moment to talk about our predictions. But before we do, there is this murmuring already that Tudor should go. So let's put our cards on the table. Dust off the Franco meter, it's the Tudor meter. I mean, where are you guys at? Do we stick with him?
You got to. I mean, changing after 3 games would be ridiculous. The trouble is that you then go back to that phase when he just arrived, and all of a sudden you've got this sort of fake optimism of, oh, okay, new manager bounce again. You've got to give him the rest of the season. You have to. It would just be crazy to get rid of him now, I think.
So I disagree. You don't have to give him. I think if he loses the next 2, he has to go. He has to, because that is absolutely the opposite of anything that you want from a change of manager. If he can't get a point out of Fulham,
Yeah.
Palace, and Forest, then he has to go. Now,
But then what?
I never
Then
ever
who
thought.
comes in?
Well, I never ever thought that I would ever want or think this. But I'm sorry, if Sean Dyche, if we're in that situation, I
Wow.
would be going after Sean Dyche until the end of the season, because he has proper experience of getting a Premier League club out of that situation. And his record at Forest was why he got sacked. I'm not entirely sure. He was all doing all right at Forest, so I would be on the phone. But it is just I feel ridiculous saying it, because it's like when people were saying, "Oh, let's get Sam Allardyce." It's just ridiculous. Why would we go there? But the fact is, if Igor Tudor cannot start picking up points, you cannot give him until the end of the season in the hope that he will. He has to be accountable for the fact that he's been brought in to get us out of this situation, and he can't wait until the 3 games left where he has to win all 3. It's just no.
And I think I'm with you, Graham. So not yet, but maybe soon, and maybe sooner, because I think the reason Frank sort of bombed so bad was because he 100% lost that dressing room. The respect levels were shot. And I think if there's even an inkling, and there has to be someone in the club who understands these things, understands the dynamic between a manager and a set of players. And if we're seeing the pattern repeat again, if we think for a moment that this group of players is not with the manager, he has to go. And to be fair, if that happens after the Atletico Madrid game, if it happens after the Liverpool game, which we're all saying is sort of a free hit, it's too late then to bring somebody else in to build that rapport in with the players. For the rescue job we need somebody that the players are behind. If they're not behind him now, for me, he can go.
But yeah, let's move on to the predictions.
Okay. Well, for the second match in a row, we did not trouble the scorers for the Palace game, so let's not go there. So let's go Madrid then. Tuesday, Champions League. We have no idea what team is going to turn up. What do we think the score is going to be?
I don't mind taking this first. I think we'll lose 3-0.
I think it'll be worse than that. I think we'll lose 4-0.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think the impact of that is that the second leg, there'll be 10,000 there at the most.
Okay. Well, I do think that despite it being such a torrid time in the Premier League, we have been better in Europe. And I do think that is as much to do with the weakness of Europe, to be honest, the European teams. So I don't think it's going to be quite as bad as that. I'm going to say a 1-0 defeat and still have all to play for in the second leg. And then Sunday, Anfield, Liverpool away. What can we get out of that one?
I'll go first on this one. I do think we're going to lose because we're not very good. I think we're going to lose 2-0.
All right, that's it.
The intonation suggested there was more coming.
Yeah. So yeah,
I think actually in Graham's head there probably was more coming, and they went, "Oh no, that is it." Graham, I am going to echo your 2-0 defeat scoreline. I don't see where we get anything out of that game. Liverpool have something to play for at the minute. There's been a bit of a wobble from Villa, sort of in those sort of chases for the sort of top 4. So I think they'll be right at it. Look, you compare our benches; it's absolute, carnage at the minute for us with regards to who we can bring on. So 2-0 to Liverpool.
Okay, well, I think Liverpool have been wildly inconsistent this season. They can be good, but they can be absolutely awful as well. So I'm going to hope that they have a stinker and we manage to raise ourselves up and grab a 1-1 draw. And I'm also hoping that Tudor finally starts with Richarlison, because I think it's long overdue. So I'm going to say Richie to score our goal.
I think that'd be a brilliant result, by the way, to come away from Anfield 1-1.
Absolutely.
If we can get a draw out of that game, that could be the kickstart we need.
Yep, for sure. All right. So, that's our really optimistic predictions. Let's have some fun. Let's do a bit of a Tom's teaser. Come on, play that jingle.
Tom's teaser.
Right, chaps, as per last week, I couldn't bring myself to use any of our forthcoming games as inspiration for the teaser this week. So what I've done is I've looked at the stats for Tottenham Hotspur this season and the players obviously related to those stats, and I've found 10 questions. You're going to get 5 questions each. Question 1, you're going to get 1 guess to get the question right, and if you get that, you get 1 point. Question 2, you're going to get 2 guesses to get the question right. If you get that question right straight away, you get 2 points. So there's a real opportunity here to sort of gain sort of back-end points. Graham's been going first a lot recently, I've realised. So, Mark, you're going to go first this week. You're going to get 5 questions. Your first question, though, you're only going to get 1 guess for. So,
okay. I imagine if it's Premier League stats, all the numbers are going to be quite low.
Well, it's the players you need to guess.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, your first question is player with most Premier League goals.
Premier League goals, I am going to say Christian Romero.
Is incorrect. It's Richarlison.
Is it?
It is. Okay, Graham, you only get the 1 guess, and it's most assists.
Porro.
Incorrect. It is still Mohamed Kudus. Mark, question 2. You get 2 guesses on this one. Most yellow cards.
I mean, surely Romero.
Is correct. You get 2 points. Graham, most red cards.
Still Romero.
Still Romero. 2 points. Okay. Mark, question 3. You get 3 goes at this. Don't think you'll need them, but here we go. Most matches played.
Vicario.
Yeah, well done. 3 points for Mark. Graham, most clearances.
Clearances?
Yeah.
So just kicking it away.
Defensive clearances.
Van de Ven.
3 points for Graham. You are matching each other here, boys. This is fantastic. Okay, this is where it gets tricky, and this is where you might need your guesses, Mark. You have 4 guesses at who's committed the most fouls.
I'm going to say Polinia.
Incorrect.
Okay. Well, then my next one is to go to Romero.
Incorrect.
More fouls than Romero. Interesting.
He just does it properly. He doesn't do it often. He just does it properly.
Yeah, true. Who else might it be? Let's go with Bentancur.
Incorrect.
All right, final one. We'll go Van de Ven.
Incorrect. 0 points scored for Mark on that round. And I wrote down this stat and I couldn't believe who it came back with. Kolo Muani.
What?
He's committed the most fouls.
He does about 16 a game, doesn't he? Wow.
That is a
toughie.
I think that it's in the mid to high 30s. I'll go back and find that stat, but mad. Okay.
That is unbelievable.
Graham, most passes, and you've got 4 goes at this.
Polinia.
Incorrect.
Vicario.
Incorrect.
Xavi.
Incorrect.
Well, that's who I would have gone for.
Last guess.
Spence.
Incorrect.
Is it Romero?
Almost.
Van de Ven.
Van de Ven. So final round. Mark, 5 guesses for this. Most fouled player.
Most fouled player. Kudus.
Incorrect.
Porro.
Incorrect.
Richarlison.
Incorrect.
Xavi?
Correct. 2 points in your final round. So, Graham, essentially, if you score any more than 2 here, you steal. Okay, so Graham, your final question. You get 5 guesses on player with most tackles.
Polinia.
Correct!
It had to be.
You've
it had to be.
Absolutely smashed it. 5 points straight off the bat.
But yeah.
Wow.
Shocking.
That was probably the easiest of the lot, wasn't it?
Shocking.
So, Graham, another win on the card, which takes the Tom's Teasers overall scores to Graham 9, Mark 15. You could still claw this back.
Oh, it's like Wolves. Graham's the new Wolves of Tom's Teaser.
Tom's Teaser.
Right. So shall we finish off on a positive Spurs?
Can we try?
Wow, good luck.
Now everybody, haven't you heard? Here's a guy that can polish a turd. When you think you've got nothing to give, he'll stay positive. Positive Spurs.
So we are coming out of a really, really disappointing Premier League result. Things are very, very bad. There is still 9 games left. There is still the opportunity to get some players back. There is still the opportunity to pick up the results we need. And we are still, as we speak today, not in the relegation zone. So we are not relegated yet. We are still in the Premier League and we still have the chance to stay in the Premier League. And that's the way I've got to be thinking until somebody tells me officially otherwise.
So let me get it straight. The positive Spurs is that it's still only March.
Absolutely. We get 9 more games to watch.
Oh, dear me. I have to say, we should just give a shout out, actually. We were going to do this at the start, and I think we forgot. But in all the doom and gloom, there was one bright light, actually, on Thursday, and that was Archie Gray.
Here.
I thought he was head and shoulders above everybody, both in output and effort. Like if everybody, and again, like you say, Graham, you don't know what's going through everyone's head. But to be honest, it doesn't really matter. What you want is your players to show a bit of passion and a bit of commitment and a bit of effort, and then also be skilled enough to give you the output. Brilliant little turn. I still don't really know how he managed to turn past those 2 players to set it up for Thom. And just his general play is just above most players at the moment. You know, when he gets the ball, you expect a bit of quality from him. And for me to be saying that about somebody who was essentially still just a 19-year-old kid speaks volumes for him. Probably is not so great reflection on the rest of the team. But no, I think Archie did really well and looks like somebody that you can really sort of rely on when the going gets tough. Yeah, hopefully he can provide a bit of inspiration for some others and drag a few players up with him.
I had exactly the same thought. A previous game as well, he was one of our best players, got that assist. And especially for a young player to be putting in those sort of performances when he's not even playing in his best position most of the time.
I was going to say he's all over the place, isn't he?
Absolutely. It is an enormous credit to him, to the people around him. We do have some good young players at the club, and I hope that they're given a shot. And he's absolutely leading the way right now. I honestly thought if this kid continues the way he's going, that's a future Tottenham captain that we've got in our ranks, because he's showing up when a lot of other senior players in that squad are definitely not. So fair play to him.
We just have to hope that the club can get back to the level that Archie Gray deserves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's the reality, isn't it? I know this is the positive Spurs section, so apologies, but that is, to be honest, one of my worries is that we have the likes of Bergvall, the likes of Archie Gray, Mikey Moore, of course, who's absolutely tearing it up now north of the border. And then Vuskovic, there's a lot of rumours going on about him now that Barcelona and Bayern are circling around him. And then this is my worry, is that we've had this strategy of buy-in young, promising talent. And obviously you've got to wait for that to evolve. But now we're going to be in a situation where suddenly all this young talent is ready to go and they're going to leave because now we are not at the level that they deserve to play in. That's the problem.
Yeah, or the level that we bought them at. So we bought them when we were a European challenging top 6, Premier League club. So let's just hold our noses, close our eyes and get through the next couple of weeks until we get to that Forest game, because I think all of us are seeing that as the next watershed moment. Be interesting to see what happens with the Champions League game. But for me, I'm just sort of holding my breath until I can see some sort of improvement in the league.
So yeah, stay strong, Spurs fans.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Please.